The millionaire asked a single dad to play her husband for 24 hours. His choice melted her heart. Emma Sinclair was a millionaire with more problems than her wealth could solve. A successful businesswoman in the city, she had built her empire from the ground up, but that success came with the crushing weight of family expectations. Her parents, old money traditionalists, believed no woman should remain unmarried at her age. They had arranged a gathering at their countryside estate and made it clear, if she showed up alone again, they would pressure her into accepting a marriage she didn't want. Emma needed a plan, and fast. That's when she met Daniel Hayes. Daniel was a single dad, juggling 2 jobs and raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, on his own. A chance encounter happened when Emma's car broke down near the small cafe where Daniel worked part-time. She noticed how kind and protective he was with his daughter, and a wild idea formed in her mind. The next evening, she made him an offer. "Mr. Hayes, I know this sounds strange, but I need someone to play my husband for just 24 hours. I'll pay you generously. All you have to do is smile, hold my hand, and keep my family off my back." Daniel hesitated. He didn't like deception, but Emma's sincerity and the fact that Lily's school tuition was due made him listen. "What about my daughter?" he asked cautiously. "She's welcome to come. In fact, she might make the story more believable." So they struck a deal at the Sinclair estate. The wealthy family was stunned. Emma arrived with Daniel, tall and rugged in his simple suit, and little Lily, who clutched Emma's hand as if she had known her forever. Daniel played the role flawlessly, charming Emma's aunts, answering her father's stern questions, and even deflecting nosy relatives who tried to dig into their marriage. But the act became something more. Emma found herself laughing at Daniel's stories, admiring his humility, and noticing the way he always put Lily first. He wasn't polished like the suitors her parents preferred, but his quiet strength spoke volumes. That night, when they were alone in the guest room, Emma whispered, "You didn't have to go this far. You're making them believe more than I expected." Daniel smiled softly. "I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I see how much it means to you. And because Lily, she's never had anyone look at her the way you do." Emma's heart melted. The 24 hours passed, but by the end, Emma realized she didn't want the act to end. Neither did Lily, who hugged her tightly before they left. And Daniel, who had once thought love was over for him, found himself wondering if he could give his heart away again. When Emma walked him to the car, she surprised him with a trembling smile. "You know, Daniel, our contract is finished, but if you wanted to stay in the role a little longer, I wouldn't object." Daniel looked at her, then at Lily, whose eyes were full of hope. He took Emma's hand, not as part of a deal this time, but as a choice. "Maybe it's time we stop pretending." And just like that, what began as a desperate act of pretense turned into the start of something real, something richer than all of Emma's millions. Emma Sinclair had everything people thought they wanted: penthouse apartment, designer clothes, a company worth millions. But she had no one who truly cared for her, not for her wealth, not for her status, but simply for who she was. Her parents never let her forget how disappointing it was that she remained unmarried at 32. Their latest scheme, an elaborate anniversary party at their countryside estate. With hand-picked bachelors already on the guest list, Emma dreaded it. Then fate intervened. The encounter. Her car broke down near a small-town cafe. She stepped inside, flustered, and there he was, Daniel Hayes, sleeves rolled up, serving coffee with one hand, while helping his little daughter, Lily, with her homework at the counter. Emma noticed the details, the gentleness in his voice, the way Lily trusted him completely, the quiet exhaustion hidden behind his eyes. When Daniel helped her find a mechanic, she caught herself saying, "You're good with people." He chuckled. "I'm good at surviving. Single dad life. Coffee helps." That's when the idea struck her. The proposition. The next evening, Emma returned to the cafe. She laid it out bluntly. "I need someone to play my husband for 24 hours only. It's my parents' anniversary celebration, and I can't show up alone again. You'd be helping me more than you know. I'll pay you enough to cover, let's say, Lily's school tuition for the year." Daniel almost laughed. "You're serious?" "Completely." He hesitated. He hated lies. But when he saw Lily's worn backpack, remembered the tuition notice sitting on his kitchen table, and looked into Emma's desperate eyes, he agreed. "All right, 24 hours. But Lily comes too. I'm not leaving her behind." Emma smiled for the first time all week. "Deal." At the Sinclair estate, the moment they walked through the marble doors, whispers rippled through the wealthy crowd. Emma, the woman who never brought a date, arrived, not only with a ruggedly handsome husband, but also with a little girl holding her hand. Daniel shook hands firmly, looked her father straight in the eye, and charmed even Emma's sharp-tongued aunt with his humor. Lily called Emma Miss Emma, but halfway through the night, slipped and said, "Mommy, Emma," making the entire room go silent. Emma blushed crimson. Daniel didn't miss a beat. He pulled Emma closer and said softly, "Kids always speaking the truth." The crowd laughed, and the tension broke. The private moment later that night, when they retreated to the guest room they were expected to share, Emma whispered, "You didn't have to be so convincing. My father actually looks impressed for once." Daniel shrugged. "I wasn't acting. I just treated you the way someone should." Emma froze. No one had ever said that to her before. The choice that changed everything. By morning, the plan had worked. Emma's parents backed off, the suitors disappeared, and Daniel's part was technically over. But when it was time to leave, Lily clung to Emma's dress. "Do we really have to go, Daddy? Can't we stay with Mommy Emma a little longer?" Emma's throat tightened. Her parents were watching from the veranda, waiting for this charade to end. But then Daniel looked at Emma, really looked at her, at the woman who had let his daughter feel safe for the first time in years. At the woman whose laughter he realized he wanted to hear again. He took her hand, not as part of an agreement, but as a choice. "We don't have to stop pretending," he murmured. Emma's heart melted, and so, what began as a 24-hour arrangement turned into the beginning of a love story richer than anything money could buy.